last three matters that I have on, and if I can have these three individuals maybe on this side, is I have the recall of Ava Warren. Is Miss Warren present? Come on up, ma'am. I've got a matter involving Mr. Michael Shipley. Is Mr. Shipley present? And then also Ken Timmerick. And then do I have the petitioner here? Is it Mr. Piccarelli?
Yeah, sure.
All right, and then if I can have you sit over here. And then Mr. Slavin from the prosecutor's office, are you more of a passive observer or are you more actively participating in this?
Your Honor, I believe the prosecutor's office doesn't necessarily have a role other than editing a ballot synopsis and give that forward. I do think that there is an issue to be brought to the court's attention regarding jurisdiction and Mr. Timmerick. The relief requested may be moved as I believe Mr. Timmerick has resigned his position. So how that affects the sequence of addressing the three matters, I couldn't say.
All right, and just to page one more time, is Ken Timmerick present in person or on Zoom? And I guess Mr. Piccarelli, are you aware, has he resigned his position?
That's my understanding, yes, sure.
So essentially this is now rendered moot. Because he's no longer a member of council, correct?
Correct.
So,
but the allegations have been filed, and so I don't want, some sort of liable issue down the road. I think it's better to just pursue this to its fullest.
Well, there's nothing to pursue. I can't recall and remove an individual that no longer holds an office.
Okay.
So essentially the relief you're seeking is moot in his point. So I think at this point a dismissal is appropriate in that case, unless there's some other relief you're seeking.
No, sir, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So the matter in 24-2326 will be dismissed based on the court's understanding that Mr. Timmerick is no longer a member of council, rendering these proceedings moot. And then Mr. Shipley, good afternoon, sir. And then Ms. Warren, you are present. I know that a copy of this was mailed to you on January 2nd, and I also understand that the sheriff's office may have served both of you. When did that service occur?
I think it was like last Thursday.
Okay. And then there has not been any sort of written response from you in this document. Are you folks acknowledging that this is a legitimate petition, or are you contesting these issues?
We're going to contest it. I was unaware that we had to file papers first because this is truly a fraudulent thing. I have evidence to that, but I was told that I needed to file before you could see them.
Correct.
Yeah. So I would like to ask for a continuance so we have time to do that.
All right. And then Mr. Shipley, are you planning on responding to this as well, or do you have evidence that you'd like me to consider?
I would like to respond to it.
Okay, so anything that's done in a civil proceeding is done via affidavit or filing. So these are not situations where we take testimony. That would be a trial situation, and this is procedurally different in that type of situation. So anything that you'd like me to consider has to be reduced into writing, just like Mr. Piccarelli reduced his complaints against you folks into writing, and you were properly served. So Mr. Piccarelli, I know that we're mandated by law to set the hearing within 15 days, but I think due process dictates that they have an opportunity to respond. Do you have any objection if this gets moved out a couple of weeks?
So long as the arguments are based on the factual and legal sufficiency, not necessarily truthfulness, because that's not the position of this court. This court can't make that decision.
Correct.
Right. So as long as that is in the scope of things, and we're not arguing back and forth with the truthfulness, and we're not filing briefs and things like that, I don't see a problem with that at all.
Okay.
Gives everybody the opportunity to have
so we could, and then are you folks going to be representing yourself, or are you looking to hire an attorney?
I cannot afford an attorney.
Okay. And then Mr. Shipley?
I will represent myself.
Okay. So what I can do is I can continue this out to January 25th. That would give you folks 2 weeks. Do you think that's a sufficient amount of time?
Yes.
And then that works for you, Mr. Shipley?
Yes, sir.
And then like Mr. Piccarelli indicated, and so you folks are aware, this is essentially kind of just a threshold hearing. The inquiry here is whether or not he has shown enough evidence and raised enough facts to allow this to proceed forward. So if that's the focus of what I have here is basically it's a lower threshold just to kind of get over a beginning hurdle, and then if he's successful, there's further proceedings that happen from there. So if this devolves into a debate over credibility or things like that, that's not really something that the court's able to do at this proceeding. So what I'll do is I will draft 2 orders that continue this out. That'll again be at 1:30 in the afternoon. All right, so I'll hand this down, and then Warren, you sign as the respondent there, and Mr. Picarilli. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll sign as the petitioner.
Now, are we joining these 2 cases, or are we going to keep them
They
separate case
remain
numbers?
separate at this point in time.
Just for
Yes, sir.
safety.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Shipley sign. All right, so I've signed off on those. Mr. Picarilli, anything further in the Shipley and Warren matters this afternoon?
No.
And folks, anything further?
No.
Okay, I will see everybody back in 2 weeks. And then Mr. Picarelli, if you want to remain, I'll work on that dismissal order for Mr. Timmerichs, or you can take off and I can just enter it. It's up to you.
I can stay, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So there you go. correct. So I've just indicated that Mr. Timmerick has resigned from office in question and that the above matter is dismissed. So I'll hand this down for signature. All right, anything further the court can do for you, Mr. Piccarelli?
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay, so with that, we are adjourned.